Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, yep, volume was down.
Is mine down? Should I
No,
turn mine up?
Hey, Alan. Hey, Alan.
Hi.
All right, I'm gonna make you the host.
Okay.
Um, au- when I just signed in, it did the same thing, but it didn't automatically send me email. I had to click the button that said like send a code or something, and then it sent me that email. So that worked, but
Okay. Well, good. Am I the host yet? Did you do that?
hold on a second. Make host.
I'm the host.
There you go.
Thank you, Tony.
I'm gonna let you guys start without me. I got to get back to night bedtime routine, uh, and then I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Thanks very much, Tony.
Yep.
Well, Ellen and Nancy, stars on you, huh? Thanks for turning this around so quickly.
With the help from some other towns.
Yeah, I saw a little bit. It's my friend, one of my clients is in Easton. And so I have filled out that eligibility application before, plus their full one, thinking that eligibility looks like the full application to me.
Right.
Yeah.
A little bit too much.
We decided to pare it down a little bit.
Yeah, no, I've made some suggestions. So I don't know if you've had a chance to look at those. I just
No, I
sent them out.
just saw as I was coming up here, I just saw that you sent an email
Yeah.
about 15 minutes ago, so I did not see it. But I will download it and we can use that as the one that we reviewed tonight.
Okay, great.
Um,
Hi, Dave. Glad to have you with us.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Tuesday night's a bad night, so
So okay, so we'll try to we're setting it up for Monday night, Dave. So
Monday nights are
happy.
fine. Yep.
That's great. That's
Great.
great. Um, I'm a little concerned. I see that Austin is not able to join us tonight. I think Paul is probably on his trip.
Yes. He
Right,
said he
that's why
wouldn't be
he
here.
had me start then host the meeting.
Yep. I haven't heard from Jim Dolan.
So how many people do we have and how many people do we need?
Well, I suspect we won't be voting tonight. So we are missing Austin, Paul,
And Jim,
Jim.
but we have four
So
out of nine.
Austin sent something at 5:28 p.m. saying he wasn't going to be able to be available, but he'll
Right.
be
Yeah.
here next week.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think we're fine. I think this is the core anyway about, looking at this revised application process. So
Do
if we
we
can have a quorum next week. I'm sorry?
do we have a quorum now with four people?
No, we don't.
Oh, how many do you need for a quorum?
Well, gosh, all Friday. You're right, Ellen. We do have a quorum.
Yeah, I thought we did.
I just can't see Dave.
Because we're missing three people and we're
Yeah.
right and we're
So we have a quorum.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, great. And then we can do things like review minutes.
Right.
Well, all right. I will officially call the meeting to order. Hi, Dave. There we see you. It is 7:03. It's Monday, the 16th. And this is the Community Preservation Committee meeting. We have a quorum of 4 out of our group of 7. With me tonight is Nancy Catalmo, Ellen Goldberg, and David Wilson.
So
So last week we had quite a review of standing of already awarded applications. Nancy, I don't know, you were taking notes. Were you?
I sent around the minutes to everyone.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry if I missed them, but let's pull them up.
Ellen, you can put them on the screen?
Yeah,
That'd
I'm
be
just,
wonderful.
I'm pulling them out of my email now. Hang on.
Okay, and then the other thing is who's taking minutes tonight?
Well,
the people
since
that-
you two have actually worked on this application, I will volunteer to that. So Dave, just so you're aware, we are actually going to try to do minute taking on a rotor. So get ready. You might be one of those people asked. But for tonight, I'll do the minutes.
Okay, no problem.
So these are
Okay.
the minutes that Nancy sent around. I think they're fabulous. My only comment, in addition to, just in addition to agreeing with the minutes, is that it's too detailed for me for minutes. I feel like these are like discussion notes, but we don't, if it were me, I might recommend saying old business, reviewed previous projects, new business, proposed a 2-step process, expanding membership. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't put in any of the details, not necessary to me. But
I appreciate what you're saying, but I also really appreciated those details on the
Yeah.
project updates because we have to actually put a mark on those and get
Yeah.
them moving. And so I think it is a judgment call. I think we've been told that we don't have to sort of document all the discussion or the updates, but simply document motions. But these are really good minutes. So thank you, Nancy.
I just thought they would be good to refer to in the, in the
Yes.
future, and we can pare them down going forward if that seems better.
Right. But in a moment, you'll understand why I think it's so important to get these projects that have been awarded moving. All right. Well, then I will ask for a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'm just giving them a quick review again.
Okay.
Just a quick glance. I move to accept the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Can I second?
Why not?
All right, I second.
Okay. All in favor? Nancy,
Aye.
Ellen,
Aye.
Dave, chair votes aye, minutes accepted.
So I can just fill in that last date and then send them off to the town clerk.
That's right. And she will be very grateful. Okay. Okay, so also high on our agenda tonight is the review of the 2-part application process. Dave, we discussed this last week. This 2-part application process has been recommended by Community Preservation Coalition as a way of both directing and refining grant applications, but also of eliminating projects that aren't eligible. And last year we had 2 of them that were troubling and took up a fair amount of time and consultation with the coalition. So tonight, Nancy and Ellen have drafted both the eligibility application and the kind of text that goes with it. So Ellen, if you could put that on the screen.
Yep, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show the version that you edited. So we're working on a new version now. So
Okay.
first, let's take a look at the process and then
Yep.
we can look at the form. Okay, so we now have the process.
Mhm.
3 funding okay, open space recreation, okay, so open space recreation, okay, so combining these should be combined.
Yeah, they really should be combined.
Okay,
Yep, just like that.
yep. Okay, did I put 25 there? Did I put 24?
Yes.
Yep.
Happens.
We both missed it.
Okay.
Well, and then we can confuse ourselves further by saying it's for fiscal year 26.
I
So,
know.
Right.
It's terrible. I actually just want to save this document in case we make more changes right now. So hang on.
okay.
And trying to convert, really? Okay.
I watch Ellen work in awe.
Me
What?
too.
What was that?
You're so skillful. We watch you work in awe.
Oh, I'm like, you work my call, what? Right now. Okay, so so let me just give this some context. We also have another page of notes from our meeting, which we did not share because we thought it would be kind of over the top. But it outlines our thinking, which is we need to show what this process is to people and get a page up on the website that says this is the application process for community preservation funds, grants, whatever we're calling it. I wasn't sure after I started doing it. I was like, is it a grant? Is it an application for funding? I don't know. So so we created these 2 documents. This is what we would propose goes on a new page on the CPC section of the Nahant website. And this is the application process. And then there's the first part of that process, as you see, is the application for eligibility that everybody has to fill out and send to us. We'll figure out the process after we kind of nail down agreement on these things. And then there's, so then there's the form after that. And then there's the grant application, which is already online, and we can make maybe needed changes, which we should maybe put that on for the next meeting, because I have notes from last year that we should review. Anyway, so that's where we are. And I sent this off to you all tonight. And Lynn sent back very minor edits, which I'm happy to see, and she filled in some dates.
I did.
Nancy and I were not sure what the dates should be, so we put in,
We made them up.
give it our best guess.
Yeah. So I am putting in 2 public meetings. We usually just have 1, but since we've got this bifurcated process,
Right.
I thought, let's give 2, and one is during the actual eligibility and the other is during the full application process. So I'll have to coordinate with Kristen at town hall for the notices and on that. And, generally with the notices, we would include the process and the application itself.
Okay.
Those notices go to the town committees, as well as to the nonprofits in town.
So any other comments or questions about this process that we articulated?
Not on this. Dave, I know this is probably just your first chance to look at it, unless you had a chance to look at it earlier today, but any thoughts?
Yeah, I went over it a little bit. It seems all right. I have a quick question. When we adopt these, do they have to be certified by the state, or can we do this on our own? The
No, we do
process.
it on our own.
All right, I'm just a question, that's all.
Yep, yep. And just for reference, Ellen and Nancy and I went to the Community Preservation Coalition website. And under the technical assistance section of that, they actually have links to and describe the two-part eligibility process, and then have links to 3 different towns who provided examples. So there was a reference to how to do this.
Well, that's good, because, last year we had 2 applicants that, kept on sending us email after email to
Oh.
explain their thing,
But
so this will
in part that,
clarify it.
in part that this is designed to help alleviate problems that stem from ineligible applications. Because we're not asking people to put together a full application, we're asking them to put together the concept, a brief description, how much money, and have them do the research, right? We include the link for, is my project eligible?
Yep.
So, they can clearly see, hopefully, the
Well, I think, what we have to do is, we have to get out the information so they know what's going on. So they don't even have to make the application, because they will probably
that's
find
what
out
this
it's
is,
not eligible.
exactly. So if you look, we'll cover the form next. There's a link in the form that takes you to the coalition's website, where it shows you questions to ask on whether or not your project is eligible.
So, sort of following up on that, I know you said when you send out the announcements, we're going to include these 2 documents. But the concern that Ellen and I have is, how fast are we going to be able to upload them to our site so that someone can get a hold of them who maybe hasn't seen them somewhere else, or, making the process of getting it filled in online. I mean, that's a whole other step that we're just concerned about.
I see. Let's look at the application and
Okay.
discuss that.
So I'm going to assume that this is good with Lynn's changes. So we're going to say this is tentatively approved, and if we get it online and we need to make changes, that's fine. But
Yep.
we're good with this. Okay,
Yep.
great. So then the other one
So do we have to, when we get both of them, do we have to vote as a committee to approve them?
Yes, we do,
Right.
but we
Right.
won't do that until next week.
Right. Okay.
Oh, wrong one. Hang on, I'm gonna just pause my screen for a second and pull up the correct Lynn document. So that's the application process. Application eligibility draft. Yeah, okay, I got it. And let me just save it before I share my screen. Okay, so this is the document, this is the application form for application for eligibility. And this thing, what you see in turquoise, is what Lynn edited just before this meeting.
Mhm.
So, why is name of organization in turquoise?
Because I added it. Anything that I added, I highlighted in turquoise.
We thought we had that on there, but maybe we didn't.
That wasn't
I-
on there, really?
Nope.
Oh, I missed it when I was transcribing. Okay, thank you. Open space and recreation,
I
historic.
kind of put them together. I just want
Yeah.
people to understand really
I'll
are
I'll
together.
get them together in the right, yeah, right. I'm not gonna put you don't wanna shut, you want it like this.
Something like that, yeah.
You want it like that and start paying, right? And I'll fix that. Let me just write updated, yeah, it's June 9/16/2024. Okay.
So she only asked for one money category, which we had
Right.
discussed. That's fine.
Okay, so you want to add the total project cost. Do you want to say?
I do,
Okay,
but most importantly, I want somebody to tell me why their project meets the CPA criteria.
Right.
So I added that. And then I thought,
but wait, how is that different from include how your project accomplishes the goals of CPA?
that's different. In CPA, the goals of CPA Boston, in fact, I thought about, or CPA Nahant are specific to our application.
Okay. Do you want to just, would it make sense to include this here instead of accomplishes the goals of the CPA in Nahant? Like, would describe how, okay, provide a brief project description and describe how your project meets the CPA category criteria.
Well, this is actually raising, I think they're different, actually, quite different.
Okay.
But this is raising something that I had thought about earlier and that I hadn't done. This CPA grant application for Nahant has a specific set of goals. And I wonder if we should include, I know we're lumbering this, but I'm wondering if we should include that in the process piece.
In the application process?
In the process portion of this.
In on this document or in the process thing that
In
we
the process portion of this.
process portion of this?
In the
The one-
process, in the
the
piece that's
previous
called
document.
process.
Is that what
In the
you
piece
mean?
that's called process.
The thing that we just went over, that process.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
That's what I thought you meant. Okay.
And I'm trying to think, where are these? I'm trying to pull up an old application, and you probably are doing the same thing.
Oh, I was gonna go for the documents. These, what we were just looking at. That's the process right here that we just did. CBC will hold a meeting. All applications, this should say applicants. Must submit an eligibility application. Grant application, review process, town meeting, project implementation. CPA informational meeting. By visiting the supply, you can create ideas, work in the town. So what is it you're thinking to add?
I'm trying to find a copy of last year's application that actually is in full.
The
So
online one?
Yeah. Or in my mini files.
Here. Let's see if I have one. Well, I might not have them here. Oh, I did not save them here. I will pause my screen for a minute though and pull one up from my email.
Yeah.
All right, I found one and then it comes with a PDF that consolidates itself. So elegantly. So even if this isn't the final one that they submitted, this is what it looked like.
Right, so it should be at the very end of the application.
That's it. Turns out to be like a 2-page thing. 3. What is it that you're?
Did this get lost in the shuffle of doing these applications?
Are you thinking about all those other pages that we used to have?
Yes, which actually set the criteria by which we judge these applications. That's exactly what I'm thinking about.
So those might have been just online. See what we got. All right. So it does not look like, so it's kind of, the website is a bit scattered, if you ask me.
Uh-huh.
So not like, so if you go right here, this is community preservation page.
Mhm.
There's an introduction, this year's committee, the report from last year, and then you would think, okay, maybe project submission and forms. And then these are all the applications that were submitted last year. So
So gosh, I have it from an old application, back in the days when people actually filled them out. And
right.
it's called the Appendix A, and it's the Town of Nahant Community Preservation Act selection criteria.
So I don't know where that is online on the website anymore.
I don't think it exists in the present.
Right.
Is
So
there a
let's,
way Lynn can send it to you, Ellen, and you can put it up?
well,
Or Lynn doesn't have it.
Yes, I do have it.
Okay, so if you emailed it to her, could she then put it up for us?
well,
Since-
I can't, because I don't have access to the website to do that. But
No, I can email it to you.
yes, and I think I would have it like on old applications as well,
Mhm.
but you should email me what you, so there's no misunderstanding.
Right.
You should send it to me, and then my guess is it looks pretty old too, right?
It's still the criteria by which we judge projects.
Okay.
I can see that we weren't publishing it last year, well, the last couple of years.
Right.
Um,
So in terms of the application process and the eligibility draft, so here on the this is on the application, this is the application. And here we say, please see this page to determine initial eligibility. And I put allowable uses link.
mhm.
So are the criteria that you're gonna send me different than those, or is it just another?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And I feel, just give me a moment. I'm having to search through my files to do it, but I'm about to send it to you because
Okay.
I found one that I can.
So should we say both things here?
Well,
Like-
if you'll give me a moment, let's
Okay.
look at it and then see
Okay.
if that makes sense. but I want to have you have a chance to look at this. And this is actually from one of the applications from 22. So I'm going to also include Dave on this. And I apologize. I meant to actually pull this up earlier when I was doing those edits, but yeah. All right, Ellen, depending how quickly your email comes in.
I got it.
And it's at the very end called Appendix A.
I was gonna say, even the file naming convention looks like one of mine, doesn't it?
It is, yeah. It's yours. It's yours.
Yeah.
There it is.
My fingerprints are here. Okay,
Yes, your fingerprints are all over this.
I know. Okay, okay.
So why couldn't we actually
Uh,
put that in just as it is
yeah,
under the process?
right. So if we go to the process, that's the application. So this is the process. So, it's almost like it should be a step before the informational meeting, right? Where applicants review the CPC, is my project allowable, and Nahant eligibility criteria, right?
Well, yes, and I actually would start with the informational meeting.
Okay.
And then under this one, the eligibility and the Nahant criteria, put that together.
So,
There's two, it's important to make this distinction. There's CPA grant eligibility,
yeah,
and then there's Nahant selection criteria.
right. I don't personally think I was aware that there was a true difference myself. So this is new to me.
So when we filled out this old application, we had to answer, or we were supposed to answer all these different questions.
Mm-hmm.
No, not necessarily, Nancy,
Well,
because
that's what we tried to do. I'm sorry.
at very, careful applicants did that. But if you read this,
Yeah.
the committee will use this to assess proposed projects. So yes, the Historical Society led the pack in actually making this easier for grant applicants.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something that was put together at the very beginning of community preservation in Nahant.
Right.
And I don't, it doesn't say we're going to make you fill each of these out, but a good applicant will make sure that they are actually embedding these thoughts in their application narratives.
Okay, but that's not for the eligibility. That's for the assessment of the actual application for funding.
No, I disagree. And I think this is the rub with, and we'll just call it the cyber czar thing, because the cyber czar was all over trying to demonstrate how he met the CPA eligibility.
Mhm.
But I think I would hope if an applicant sees this, that it's specific to Nahant, there might be a pause and an appropriate response. but I can tell that I might be making this more cumbersome.
No, it's not that. I'm just trying to fit it into a box, Lynn. I'm being extremely practical. Like I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying, okay, fine, where do I put it? Right? Like that's all I'm trying to do. I don't, I think, it's like an esoteric distinction of assess or, eligible, right, at this point. I think you're right. It would be good for people to read this stuff beforehand. So now I'm just saying, okay, where does it go? And how do I include it? That's all.
Yeah.
Um,
I am pulling up. Oh. Don't you love it the way emails stack up?
excuse me.
Can you put this aside? Well, I'm actually trying to find what I sent to you. Apparently I only saved one of it.
So, okay, informational meeting would be first, eligibility application. All applicants submit an eligibility application. The committee may request, right? We could add it to the process here,
That's
Like-
what I was thinking.
right? Like this should be, um, like this, right? We'll do the Nahant, selection criteria, review Nahant. Review, is my project allowable on CPA website? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm just gonna highlight it right now so that maybe I can wordsmith it, not with
Mhm.
everybody just sitting here, so that we can say, okay, we agree, we'll put this
Yeah.
in the process. Let me figure it out and then send another draft out to people.
Yep.
Okay,
And
so,
that's part why I want to have the final vote on this next Monday when
Right.
we have
more people.
broader participation.
So, I don't understand. I know the CPA website thing and how to find that. How are
Right.
we gonna get people to this Nahant selection criteria?
Right, well,
Can
so
be
that's,
attached.
well, should
So-
it be, do you want it attached to the eligibility? Oh,
Yes.
that's an interesting idea.
Well, just if you would continue down, I unfortunately I don't have the ability to. Before you get to this, I mean, it could go after this.
Oh, I see, like right on this
Yes.
application page.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
see.
Because we can't refer to it from somewhere else because it doesn't exist readily anywhere else.
Right, we would either have to like attach a PDF or attach it to the application or put it on the website.
Yeah, I just think you just included it on
Review,
this
review the
second
non-
page.
Okay,
I understand this all better, Lynn, in the context of what we went through last year. It now
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
okay. So I'm gonna just say right here.
I hope you can cut
Add
and
what
paste.
yeah, no, but it's not gonna be the same font or anything. Right, add exhibit A language selection criteria. I mean, yeah, I'll just do it right here, copy it. So it's how many? We don't need this though,
No.
right? We just need this.
Up till
just
the
up
last,
to the last bullet, right?
yeah,
So it's gonna look bad right now when I copy and paste it, but I'll fix it.
But you'll make it beautiful. I know.
I will totally make it beautiful.
I know you will.
Let's see if I can just do it like that. Good enough. Just let it be for now. Okay. Okay, so now we've added it to this. We've added it to the application process.
Mhm.
And then if we go back to the form, so this is the form. And here we say, describe, okay. And then I guess what I'm wondering is if should we put a page on the website too? Since we're having it here, describe how your project meets the CPA category criteria, the Nahant CPA category criteria, right? This is what you meant.
No, no, I want
Oh.
this to be the CPA eligible, just follow us the link that
Okay.
you sent in there.
Okay. So
I
then,
think when you go down to project description,
right. I'm just, we're gonna be adding lines for them to be able to do this.
So
Yeah.
they're gonna have to say, how does it meet the CPA criteria? Number
Uh-huh.
one. Number two, how does it meet the CPA Nahant criteria? Two different paragraphs or
Right,
description.
Not,
which is right down here. See, project description, please provide a brief description. They don't have to enumerate each one of those, Nancy, but
I get
like I
that,
said,
but you're asking them to answer two different questions.
I am. Yep.
Okay,
but that's not what this one says. So this one's is CPA category. This one doesn't say CPA eligibility criteria questions. This says how it accomplishes the goals of the CPA and Nahant.
Right.
But
And that's why those criteria are important.
right, so I'm just saying, can we just change that to make it more clear that that's what we're referring to? Please
No,
provide.
I mean, why isn't it perfectly clear?
because one thing is, should we put them both together? Because we're separating them now with this money stuff.
Right.
But to me, it might be clearer if you got to meet one, how the CPA criteria, and then how the Nahant CPA criteria right next to each other. It'll be clear it's two different things, and then the money further below that might make it
Yeah,
clear.
I would do that, but I'm also saying this says the goals of the CPA and Nahant, not Nahant eligibility criteria, that's all.
But therefore it is an eligibility criteria.
That's what I'm saying. If that's what we mean, we should just change the language here to include how your project addresses the Nahant eligibility criteria.
No, the hot selection criteria. Be
Okay.
very literal because that's
Include how your
exactly what that
project
appendix says. I
meets
would say.
the Nahant selection criteria. Yeah. And then I'd say support and attach supporting materials as necessary. And that was a question I had, if we want that. So, okay, I think Nancy's point about moving the money below this is valid. So I would move just this stuff below the questions.
Okay.
And one of the reasons, Lynn, that we thought that was important specifically, because we want to use this not only to tell people, forget it, this is terrible. We also want to be able to say, you're asking for $2 million and we can't
Right.
give you $2 million. We want to be able to advise
Yeah.
people and help them. And so we just want to make sure they get that there's only so much money we could give out or that would be reasonable.
Yep, I hear you.
So CPA category, and then describe how your project meets, then project description. Brief project include how your project meets the Nahant selection criteria. Okay, and do you want, for the eligibility, this is the initial thing, do we want additional supporting materials if they're necessary?
I actually saw that on one of the other applications. I
Yeah, that's
thought
where
it
we got
was,
it from.
Yeah,
and instead of, you had if necessary, and I just said as.
mm-hmm. So we want to keep that,
I would say so.
okay,
People don't have to, but
Right.
if they want to include a couple photographs or whatever, they can.
okay,
It seems to me.
okay. Um.
And are
So,
those spaces expandable for people to write more? I mean,
well, so this was just a draft
okay,
Word doc. And, we haven't figured out the process yet. So it becomes a question of if we want to do this as an online form, like the actual grant application is online, or if we want this to be a PDF, a fillable PDF, like the mid-level that we had between the old PDF and the online application.
Which is the easier to accomplish, especially based on your experience last year?
I don't know, because I don't know what the backlog is at the website developer.
we got held up by
2
their
years ago.
ability to help us.
That was 2 years ago. Last year went well. This
Right.
year, and then the year before is the one where we couldn't get it. We couldn't get any traction.
Right.
I would say it'd be most expedient to do the fillable PDF.
Okay.
Um,
And
because we really do need to get this out. If we're going to have our,
that's going to be available by our first informational meeting.
well, that would be me
the
creating,
7th.
so I would have to create it.
I know, that would be the question. Can you?
Yeah, when is the first meeting?
I think it was October
October
9th.
7th or 9th or something.
Yeah, I was
Sure.
keeping them on Monday.
Yeah. Monday.
It's
Yeah.
October 7th. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I should be able to do that. But we still have to get it up on the website, right? We still have to, and we still need the website edits, so we still need to talk to Kristen over at the website company.
Mm-hmm.
And also let Tony know what's going on so he can help us.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
And he's still putting a kid to bed.
yes,
That's right.
it takes time, right?
Right.
You probably fell asleep first.
Dave, I'm glad to hear that. Yes, probably.
So, guess I just have, my question was really about the CPA, not the CPA category, the Nahant selection criteria. I know we just put it in the application process.
Mhm.
Do we attach it to this as well?
I don't think so. I mean, you've got the process things.
Okay,
So I think this is fine.
Yeah, they both have to go together. They have to read both of them.
Yeah, they're going
Right.
together.
Right.
okay,
I mean, in the past, earlier, Kristen Taylor would attach these as PDFs to the communications to the committee chairs. So. And sometimes we would get things filled out by hand. Remember that, Nancy?
Yeah.
Yeah, all kinds of different ways. So I think if we can actually communicate with Tony and Kristen Taylor and through them to Kristen, how many Kristens at the website, that would be good, because that means the goal is that on the 23rd, we finalize this with our committee. And that week, we start getting things out, because that just gives 2 weeks notice to the 7th.
Yeah. So I'll, okay, so hang on, just taking notes for myself. Today is the 16th. So I have to, Ellen, update the process and create fillable PDF. And then ask Tony for help and we need to get the new process. Well, after we vote on it next week, we'll then get in touch with the website agency or I'm sure that you can add content yourself. We don't need them for that. We only need them to make changes to the forms. So, Diane or Kristen will be able to make changes to the Nahant website for us.
Mhm.
So assuming we don't need any help, right? Getting this stuff, any outside help. We can
Right, that's the idea.
right, getting website changes made. But okay, so the only external help we will need will be then making any changes to the online form, the online grant application.
Mhm.
Which we haven't discussed yet.
Right.
Right.
So I think we can, I mean, we should look at that next week.
Yeah.
But for now, I think we should say, well done. And if you can, I mean, let me ask you too, because you had actually created it last year. If you would be willing to make any recommendations based on your observations and experience with it, that would be great.
Well, I had a page of notes that I was keeping
Yep.
throughout our meetings, where people talked about, different what kind of changes they wanted to see.
Or what problems they had, they let us know.
Right.
Mhm. Yep.
Hold on. Notes to improve CPC application for 2025, last saved March 4th, 2024. Financial so I can actually just give you a spoiler and we can look at my notes from last year if you want.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's just do that real quick.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Financial section needs improvement. Budget. We were trying to simplify things. I think the thinking was, instead of having multiple fields to fill out, what's the budget number plus matching funds and then upload your budget. So that
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. These were just my notes. These are not
Yeah.
vetted.
So I just know from the open space application, our application last year included like 3 years of what we were gonna be asking in the future.
Right.
And you could easily put in the second year, but it was really hard to put in the third year, the way the application worked. So that would be kind of helpful if we could figure that part out.
Mhm.
So let me just save this real quick. The computer's been very slow today. All right. So budget, ability to add year 3 of budget
If if needed.
if needed. Yep. Okay, Google Sheet of some of the shared with all the grant applications, some other running list is an easy reference list. So this was, me thinking management, like we all, we had a bunch of emails, right? That maybe we just have some shared, this is not really the application, this is process.
Mhm.
So let's think about the application. Email submission, okay, so this thing, again, is a bit of management. This is like an instruction to the website developer. Like, could we change the way it was submitted? Because as of right now, it was a new application has been submitted to the CPCs, like all the emails titled that.
Mhm.
So I was like, notification, application purpose might not be appropriate, could be application category. I think there was some squishiness on the website.
Mhm.
We wanted to add a box for partnership organization, like this, we ran into this with Little League. And
Yep.
we could leave it as either NA or allowed to be unchecked. We had stipend requests, which I think is really a strange word. I think we all had agreed, like, when Nancy and I were doing this, we're like, what does stipend mean in this context, right? It's really the grant money that they're looking for, right?
Right.
Yeah. Let's see, coordination with the town. This was a note from Tony. Like, have you actually talked to the town of Nahant about this?
Yeah, no, we really should make that clear.
Right,
Yeah.
right, add some guidance or a checkbox, regarding coordination with the town for projects on town property. So like,
Mhm.
if project is on town property, have you discussed this with the town?
Mhm.
Include allowable categories and the descriptions on the grant application. Right, so this is what was missing, right? We had the categories, but we didn't have a link to, is my project allowable?
Yep.
Right, so I would say maybe it's is my project allowed? Link to the CPA website. So those were the notes I had from all of our meetings last year.
Can I ask you another question? Was it the year before when people had trouble starting their application and then going back to it to
Oh,
keep?
that was last year.
All right,
Yeah.
so that was a big thing that people were unhappy about when they couldn't retrieve it to keep working at it.
Yeah, and it turned out it was related to saving cookies on their computers, and there wasn't a lot they could do about that. And several people emailed back and saying, oh, wait, it's working now.
Okay,
Mhm. Okay.
So if we want people to be able to save their application and come back rather than do it all at once, then that's the way it has to be unless we create some kind of a login system. So I think we had all agreed we wanted people to have the ability to come back and try, fill it out, not necessarily all in one go.
Mhm.
So I
Think you
don't think
really
there's
want
any,
that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think there's any improvement to be made there,
okay.
unfortunately.
The other issue was how many people are gonna this is more process. How many people are gonna receive this application, which you and I talked about?
So there's two questions to that. One is the eligibility application and one is the actual grant application.
Right.
Right.
And if the whole committee is gonna be discussing the eligibility application on a rolling basis, should it go to everybody on the committee?
Like, should we, in other words, if it's going to be a fillable PDF that they attach to an email, we'll ask the town to create community preservation at nahant.org, and it would have a group email that it would get distributed or something like that. So who is in that group? It should never be just one person. Last year I was in an accident and in the emergency room when
Right.
everybody was looking for the applications, and I was
Yeah.
texting Nancy saying, nuh-uh, I can't
And they-
help you.
And then they went in piecemeal as I could locate them on my email, so.
Right. No, that was quite heroic, believe me.
So that's just
What
anyway.
if it goes in fact to Kristen Taylor and she then, makes the distribution?
What if we can't get a hold of Kristen Taylor and she's on vacation or something? Sometimes that like happens. We can't get her.
Mhm.
So we
And we
need,
go to Tony.
right. Maybe it should, I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna propose you let me close this and we discuss this next week. I was just giving you a
Yeah.
spoiler alert. These were my notes from last year.
Okay,
Yeah, and we appreciate that. So with that, I'm going to try to move us to the end of this meeting, but I do want to share some information that I got last week that was sobering. So in the past, this has to do with the state match. And I think, I have been forwarding communications that have come from the coalition. But I'd gotten an email from Allison Nieto on Thursday evening saying, whoa, this state match looks like it's much lower than you were predicting. We were predicting a state match of 50%. And that's been our, process for quite a
Right.
long time.
we've done that for a lot.
A lot. And usually it comes in higher than we
Right.
actually get whatever surplus, and it goes into the general fund. Well, in the recent past, the legislature has also contributed money towards that match, because the source of the match, as you know, is actually real estate transactions. It's the fees from real estate transactions. The state legislature in the past has contributed between 24 and $50 million to that fund, from their sources. But this year, it passed in the Senate, but it didn't pass in the House. So the fund is low. And it looks like instead of 50% match, we could be looking at as low as 30%. We're a 3% community. So we get 3 different tranches of funding. The first tranche is predicted at 14.5%. Then the second tranche is usually that amount. And the third tranche is also, in the past, has been that amount, but it looks like it could be less. So the implications for us from last year are these. We had one article that we had budgeted that did not come before the town meeting. So, and that was the housing study. So we, in a dire situation, we are actually just skidding by from our general reserve, which we were drawing from. Anyway, the Little League lighting was drawn from the general reserve. So instead of having, a net general reserve of just under $125,000, we could have a general reserve that goes down as low as $90,000. And then we have to contribute the 10% into the housing category, because we didn't fund that housing article. So this means that we should also be very conservative in the coming year. And I'm wrestling with what's conservative. Is it 30% or 35% or 40%?
When will
In
we
terms
know?
of state match? We don't know until the distributions are being made now, Ellen.
Okay.
So we actually have in the past predicted,
Mm.
and we've been successful in our predictions, but this time it looks like we have to be more cautious.
Okay.
Lynn, can I ask a question? I thought last year we were told that because the real estate market or whatever had been lower in activity, that was one of the reasons why we didn't get as much money as we had hoped. Isn't there something like that that was in the reasoning of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
And that's exactly what I'm saying to you now.
okay.
But in the past, in fiscal year 24, the state put more money in to supplement the real estate transfers.
Okay.
This year, they said, nah, we're not doing that.
But I'm asking you to go back, is the real estate market in in like comparable to last year or less than last year, or do you have any sense of that?
I don't.
Okay,
I'm not a realtor.
right. No,
All I know is that what's coming out of revenue is, a recommendation for the first round of distribution at 14.5%. So,
okay.
and what's disappointing, and this is one of the things that the coalition does, they lobby. They lobby to get those supplements. That we've enjoyed, that the supplements have been coming in probably for the last 6 or 7 years. That's partly because many more communities have joined the program. So the pool of money that is available has to be spread further.
Mhm.
And one of the biggies was the city of Boston. So, yeah. So our surcharge from Nahant is just over $290,000. So, based on a 40% match, that would be $406,000 that we'd have to distribute. If it's, 35%, it would be 391,000. If it's 30%, it would be 377,000. And, we have standing obligations
Yeah,
Right,
with 3 bonds.
right.
And those 3 bonds alone are $150,000. So you can see that we have to be cautious.
Mhm.
And I wonder, and I'd like you to think about this, I wonder with this information in mind, whether that process form, that narrative piece that you've been working on, I wonder if we should actually include some word about, the amount of funding that we potentially may have available. So let me just give you an example. When Tony comes in with his $300,000 splash pad,
Yeah.
yeah,
I would. Yeah, I would say just to make the forms have a little bit more staying power, I would refrain from putting numbers like that in the actual form, but I would say a place on the website where we can update would be very appropriate, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And I also think that we clearly make those statements in our public meetings with
Yeah, we do. We do. I just, and Dave and you all were seeing this last year, we had, the cyber czar. In the past, we've had the dog park that had no home, things like that. So I want things to be realistic. I'd like to give realistic guidance.
Yeah. Well,
So just ponder it a little
yeah,
bit,
yeah,
because not everyone will go to the website.
you're right. I, that's just where my brain is.
I know, I know it is. So,
Well, they
well,
have
all
to go to
right.
the website. They have to go to the website to fill in the form unless like they can't for whatever accessibility reasons. But I think that it's an accessible form.
Mhm. Yeah.
It could be even right
I-
there, you know.
I will say this to you, and I know that I don't know if we're being recorded.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are.
I'm cautious about actually putting that too much information on the website about our funding capability, because I really do not want to have to defend the fact that CPC, I don't want to have
right.
to, and you hear what I'm saying.
I do. That's actually a valid point. I mean, in some ways, you don't want to give everything. You don't want to give all the details out there at all. You just don't. You don't need to, for all sorts of reasons. But
Yeah.
some indication of the scope, which is why we put the on the eligibility applications, like, if somebody's looking for $2 million versus 7,500, it's kind of a big difference.
It is. So I think with that, that's the last of my new business. I don't know if there's any other business that should come before this meeting tonight. If not, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Okay,
I'll second
right.
that.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor, Ellen,
I,
Nancy,
Aye.
Dave,
Bye.
chair votes aye. So I can't thank you enough for your efforts on this. And I know that we're just adding, oh, just do a fillable PDF, Ellen. It won't take long. But
it's okay.
but it really is an enormous help. And it's
Yeah.
a great help to all of our applications. And we want quality applications. So,
Right, right.
Ellen, is there any reason that you and I need to meet further? Or this is a lot of what you're doing is,
No, I need to just revise those two documents according
Okay.
to what we did tonight and
Okay.
then create a new fillable PDF, but I think I'll wait to do that until after the meeting. Right, so get the draft fully approved and voted on, and then I'll create a fillable PDF. I don't want to go through the effort of creating another PDF that's gonna have maybe
Yeah.
more modifications.
yeah, I appreciate that, Ellen.
and we should, maybe Tony will listen to this recording, but somebody should probably talk to him when they see him about what we're thinking and our dates and all that, so he can help us
Mhm.
move it along.
I will follow up with him tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Get to do this next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye
Bye.
now.
Thank you.